All right, I've been a missionary for over 10 years, and this is one of the strangest stories that has ever happened in those 10 years. And it's the type of story where someone gets shot in the head and walks away like it never happened. It's an arcane story because I don't know what the moral of it is. I don't know what take home point it is. It's kind of a humorous story, but we have to be careful. We have to be careful because this is really somebody's life. It really happened. People really lived through it. And you have to find humor without making a joke out of anyone. And we'll do our best. So we were pretty good friends with a woman, and we were doing a lot of visits and home visits with her, and helping her family achieve their goals, but also doing Bible studies and things in the house. And she had an adult son living with her, and he weighed over 400 pounds and had a very big problem moving. But he was also kind of a Romeo, which made him kind of endearing. So you never knew what he was going to say. And what he used to do was we'd go in there, and if he was happy to see us, he was happy to see us. If he didn't want to see us and his mom wanted to see us, it wasn't the easiest thing for him to get up and leave the room. So the way he would escape conversations that he didn't want to be in is he would fall asleep. And he'd sit on the couch and he'd just be asleep. And I would just went to his mom and phone one time. I'm like, I'm amazed he can sleep through this. And she goes, oh, he's not asleep. He just does that to get away from things. Well, after we'd known the family for a while, they'd had, some conflict with the neighborhood, but this incident really isn't about conflict with the neighborhood. Her son was sitting on the front porch in the projects, one of the rougher projects we've ever been in. And there was a drive-by shooting, gun battle happening out near the street. And like I said, it's hard to move when you're 400 plus pounds. And so instead of moving while sitting on his chair watching a gun battle, he picks up a folding chair and he holds it in front of his face, to shield himself, right? And he got shot, and he got shot in the head. And he went to the hospital. He, conscious the whole time, and the bullet never penetrated the skull. And the doctors removed it, and we came visiting like a week later. I think his mom was very frantic and called us and explained, my son got shot in the head. And we're like, oh my gosh, is he dead? Is he paralyzed? It's like, no, he's right here. He's fine. It was like an in-out procedure. We never had to go into, the hospital, never hospitalized at all, really. Just had a short little operation, remove the bullet, and he's fine. We're like, oh my gosh, that's like the most incredible thing. And some time went by, and about 4 months later, we visit the family, and they're talking about him getting shot in the head, and I can't figure out what's happening because the conversation's not really making sense to me. And I finally quit, and I go, he was shot in the head again? Because they kept saying he hadn't gone to the doctor. And sure enough, he was sitting out on the same porch. This time they think he was targeted because they'd been kind of at war trying to get drug dealers off their street. And he got shot in the head again. Didn't want to go to the doctor. Once again, he had a bullet between his scalp and his skull, and we could see it. But he was more afraid of the doctor's scalpel than the bullet staying in his head. And it was incredible, and it was one of the weirdest things. And I don't know, there's no moral to this story. It just is what it is. And it's kind of funny. But God bless that guy.